Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, I know you're eager for Kriya, but I want to discuss before we go. As I said yesterday, the Samadhi Pada, the first part of the Yoga Sutras. We need not necessarily take up the Yoga Sutras, but there are many other such descriptions and discussions in the ancient teachings, in the Upanishads and so on. So you must be relieved that I didn't bring the Upanishad with me. But we're going to touch on that, okay? And maybe in the evening, second session in the evening, we would slowly start with the Kriya. Now, two things I want to tell you. One is, there are two reasons why people like to take Kriya. No harm. One, if you're going to do Kriya, mainly for physical health, well-being, wellness, to have a clear mind, and so on and so forth, that is one section. No harm, that's all right. Everybody wants to have good health and clear reason and so on and so forth. So that is one reason why people want to take Kriya, no harm. I mean, it's okay. But the other reason, which is a little more deeper, is like I asked a couple of people yesterday, and they gave me some reasons why they want to, including this little lady who was here. I can't see her today. Okay. So, they said that we are not satisfied with ordinary things in life. We have enough and so on. But we want to see if there is something lasting and not just passing. So, this is the serious Kriya practitioners who says, okay, good health, good mind, sharp, all that is good. But can I look beyond and see if there is anything which is beyond the ordinary things in life, like we have seen this life. And we say, okay, well, I'm okay, but I'm not satisfied. I need to move forward. Is there something spiritual out there which I can touch? So this is the other section of Kriya practice. Both are welcome. You can even practice Kriya and not have any belief in a supreme being or anything. This is also possible. Because Sankhya, from which yoga comes, is an atheistic philosophy. Yoga is derived largely from Sankhya, which is why when I translated the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali myself, I gave the title to the book as Yoga Also for the Godless. But not for the godless, also those who wish to think that they are like that. I'm not saying that yoga is only for, you understand. Because some people are put off. Oh, we don't want all this, we want just to... Okay, fine, that's also good. Now, to the second section, which is the seriousness with which we seek that which is beyond. I'm sure there are some people, at some point at least, think about it. The mantra I chanted just now, when we started, it's an ancient mantra from the Upanishads. And the mantra, as you know, you might have heard it many times before. The mantra is Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamaduchyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate. Now the recurring word in this mantra is Purna. Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purna, and so on. So what does that mean? What does that mantra actually mean? Now, the Rishi in the Upanishad says, Purnam Adha first, which means that, Atha is that is Purna. When you say Purna, in Indian languages, it's not very difficult. It means completeness, fullness. Fullness or completeness, you can use any of these words. And the Upanishad says, Purnamada, which means that, which we don't know, that from which this entire universe has come about, the source of everything from which this universe has come about, not only this world, but the universe, is by its own nature intrinsically Purna, which means complete, full. Now this we can debate, we can say, well, maybe, I don't know, perhaps if you say so, maybe that is Purna, the source from which we have come. I don't agree or disagree, but maybe it is so, because I don't know, right? Okay, now we have a problem with the next part of the mantra. Next part of the mantra says Purnamidam. This is complete. Now the problem is, this is never complete as far as we know. Our life, this world, as far as we know, is never complete. It's always incomplete. In fact, the whole of evolution, the moving forth in life, is because we are trying to move from incomplete to the complete. In what way? Look at us, all of us. We live in this world and we do things hoping to complete. You'll find in YouTube and other things how to retire quickly and how to stay complete. I mean, you're at peace, but it never happens, right? So if I have one house, I'm complete. My mind is complete. It's kind of full for the time being. And then I need another house. I see some kind of an instrument out there. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay. So I was just wondering what it was. So, you decided to come even with a fracture? Yes. Nice, very nice, but so difficult anyway. So, Purnam idam. This is not the truth as far as we know, unless we have understood that Purna is also this. We haven't. The whole of life is trying to complete what is incomplete. Like, I have a house and then for some time I'm Purna. I go back to my original nature, yes. Then I think, no, this is not enough, so I need to buy a better, bigger home. And this is unending till we find our eternal home 6 feet below the ground. It goes on. I'm not painting a bad picture of life, facts. It goes on. Well, I have one wife. Oh, sorry, we won't take that subject. I mean, what I mean is the multiplicity of interests and acquiring, which is part of our nature. You know why? Because deep down, inside the mind, in the core, we know that there is some completeness. But the direction in which we try to bring about this completeness is usually the outer world. There's nothing wrong with it, I'm saying naturally so. We think that by acquiring and having more and more, we will come to this completeness, but it never happens. Even if you acquire something which you're kind of satisfied with, you have to leave it and go at some point, right? So where is the satisfaction? I might do everything. The Blossom Foundation has been done, the Satsang Foundation has been done, and so on. Now there is another German foundation coming up. But then, after some years, whatever I go, it's all left there. God knows what they're going to do with it. Right? So, understanding this, some people who are intelligent, like you and me, we start looking at, is there really some completeness in us which we don't seem to find? It's futile to say, yes, I am complete when I'm not. So, I look for it. Is there something? Now, we have been taught from childhood. You gather, and you gather, and you gather, and you will become complete. But if you look at it, even a little bit of common sense, it's not so. Well, we may be okay with one thing, something may be missing. I know people who started their life saying that it's, oh, I have a beautiful wife, it's a beautiful marriage. 15 years later, the same person says, something, why? We've not managed to have a child, it doesn't work. So your completeness is not there, it's gone. Right? And so on and so forth. I have a car and I think, okay, now it's electric car time. So let's go and buy my... Nothing against your buying cars, please. I'm just looking at the situation. I might do the same thing. Then I go and I say, okay, I think I should get a BMW 4 Series electric EV. That would be nice for me and so on. But for how long? After a while, I'm not satisfied unless I'm the kind who wants to keep a car for 20 years and then push every time I want to start. So this is life, reality of life. So some people get this gleam of intelligence, which the Upanishad calls Shraddha. And then I begin to think, is there something beyond, something which is complete by itself, which is also me and part of me in my life, which doesn't go away forever? Is there something like that? And is it found through acquiring or is it found through letting go? In the Isha Upanishad, it's a beautiful statement. Tena, tyaktena, bhunjitha, let go and rejoice. So, can I learn how to let go? Which doesn't mean that tomorrow you have to sell your motorcycle and become a monk. I mean, this is not what I'm saying. Not that you go back from here and you sell everything and go to... This is not what I'm talking about. Can we let go in the sense, understanding that any amount of acquiring in this life is not going to bring about the completeness that I seek, which actually the Upanishad says is in me? Can I carry on with life but not get too agitated when something goes off? Can I let go and rejoice? Now this is not only physical, it's also psychological. What happened? Sure. Life. Anyway. So, I would rather be happier that he takes the call and not take the call because it is his own kid. This is being moral and right. Anyway, so what did I say? Let go and rejoice. Now, this is from the physical point of view, partly. The most important part is the mind point of view. In fact, there are people who have many positions but who are not so concerned. There are others who have only 3 positions but are very concerned. You know, it's a mindset rather than what you have or what you don't have. 2 things. First I'll tell you a story. There was a great sage, a rishi, who was called a Raj Rishi, which means, it means king of rishis. It could also mean a king who was a rishi. In this case, it was the second. It was Janaka, the king of Videha, who was called a Raj Rishi. His teacher, spiritual teacher, was the great sage Yajnavalkya, who you come across in many Upanishads, especially the Aranyaka Upanishad. And the Yajnavalkya used to hold his talks under trees in the open air in the forest. And there were always mats put there to decide who is sitting where. You know, mats, asanas. And the rishis, many of the forest dwellers used to sit there. But there was always one asana which seemed to be reserved for the king. And that was right in front, next to Yajnavalkya, almost. So some of the rishis used to complain, what is this? He says he's a great rishi and the self is everything and nothing matters. But for the king there is a special asana out there. This is a kind of discrimination that's going on. They used to mutter among themselves, but out of respect for the great rishi, Yajnavalkya, they kept quiet. You can hear me there at the end? Okay. So, he can come here, it's okay. All right. No, you have to ask the guard, the Dwarapalaka who's sitting there. Okay. So what did I say? I forgot. This is the result of Kriya, huh? Watch out. Huh? Yeah. So one day they were all sitting, including Janaka. A messenger came running from Videha, saying that some part of Videha is on fire. And the fire is more towards the forest than the rishis. Many of the sages and so on, who were the forest dwellers, they stood up immediately and started running. One said, oh, my kamandalu is left in the tent. Another said, my stick is their walking stick, and so on and so forth. And everybody went, and there was only Janaka city. His city caught fire. He was the king. On one hand, you would say he was irresponsible. No. He was sitting there. Everybody had vanished, and he asked Yajnavalkya, yes, sir, you are saying that, so what is the next? Continue, please. So Yajnavalkya asked him, your city is on fire. He said, I am also going to be on fire after some years. So before that, let me find out the secret. So when the rishis came back, Yajnavalkya said to them, now you know why I have a seat here reserved. For him, when he sits down, it's knowledge that is important, nothing else. Now, why did I say that? Before that, what did I say? Mindset. Okay, that's one. The other is, psychologically, now shall I tell you another very interesting story? It is not so much to do with this, but it is to do with the whole Vedantic philosophy of let go. It doesn't apply to us, it applies to a great sage. There was, in a place called Ghazipur, a yogi living there, whose name, people called him Pavahari Baba. Nobody knew his name because nobody actually knew where he came from. He used to live in an underground cell, dug a hole under the earth, and there was a little cavern in which he lived. And people haven't seen him eat food. Of course, he ate very little. Maybe he saw a mango and that was a whole day's food. So people wondered how he lived with so little food. They called him Pavahari Baba, which means Baba who eats, Baba meaning father, sage, who, incidentally, the word Baba comes from Turkey. Anyway, so he used to live there, and they called him Pavahari Baba, which means Baba who eats air, pav, not pav bhaji, but pav, air. That would have been nice. I like to be called Pavahari Baba because I go to Maharashtra, 3 meals pav bhaji is enough for me. I love it. Anyway, so Pavahari Baba. No, at one time after Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa passed away, Swami Vivekananda, such a great yogi and Vedantin and so on, he himself was a little restless after his guru passed away, after Ramakrishna passed away. So he was wondering if somebody would help him further, because there was no physical contact anymore. So finally he came to know that Pavahari Baba lived in Ghazipur. So he went to Ghazipur, hung around. One day he saw him and he had a long chat with him, and he liked him very much. He liked this young man with a bright face and who was so intent on finding the truth and so on. So they spent many hours, many days talking to each other and so on. Now, about this Pavahari Baba, Swamiji came there because he heard a story about him from the people who lived close by. And the story was, this Pavahari Baba used to every day come outside and do Agni Havan, which means he lit the fire and poured oblations into it. That was his daily ritual, once a day. So, he had a kamandalu, which was made of brass, and the long, the thing they use, what's it called? Not coming. The long spoon they used to offer ghee. What do you? Huh? What? Hugo? Yeah. I forget there's a Sanskrit name. It's a long spoon with which you pour the oblation, the ghee, and it was made of brass also. And in his spare time, he always kept it fully polished, the kamandalu. So there was a thief who was going around that place many days. He thought that since Maharajas came to touch his feet, this must be gold. He didn't know it was brass, he thought it was gold. So one night, he crawled into that cavern and took the kamandalu. By the time Baba woke up, so he ran, came out and ran. Now this Pavahari Baba was 2 inches taller than Deepu. So Deepu always sits folded down. When he unfolds, you can see it. So maybe 6'4" or so, because he's 6'2". So there was this guy. What about you? How tall are you? How tall are you? 5'11". So tall. Then this thief was running with the kamandalu and he saw Baba coming behind him. Not only coming behind him, he was waving that big brass thing, like he's then coming. He thought we are done. Because, first of all, his 2 steps, 3 steps were his 1 step. So he still ran as fast. Finally he gave up. He said, I'm going to be hammered, so let me surrender. So he put the kamandalu down and he surrendered and held his feet. Baba, please don't hurt me, I'm very sorry. He said, are you an idiot? I didn't come to hit you. He said, were you waving? I thought, since the temptation for you was the kamandalu, if you take away the spoon also, there will be no temptation for you. And I can be free. That's why I was running. You take this. I was trying to give it to you. So having heard this story, Vivekananda went there too. So they met and they had a long chat and all that. And one day, he couldn't ask, he tried many times. One day he blurted out, "Can you be my guru?" Now by then, he had talked to him many times, so Pavahari Baba knew who his teacher was before Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He said, "Well, you can decide if you want me as your guru, but first come inside my cavern." So he took him inside the cavern, and there was a small rock-made altar there. On that, there was an old photograph of Sri Ramakrishna in ecstasy, singing like this, with his hands held up. And he said, "This is my God. Do you still want me to be your guru?" So he said, "No." So I'm just describing the Purnata. Now, even with a small kamandalu and a big little spoon, Pavahari Baba was Purna, complete, full. Here we gather, we are not full. So therefore the Upanishad said, tena, tyaktena, bhunjitha. Don't take it literally. What it means? Now the psychological side. This is physical. The other one is psychological, because like Janaka, who had everything, but he was free. Not easy, but possible in this world. I would suggest the second part than the first, because it's not easy in this world to live without anything whatsoever. But the idea should be in the mind that this is not what brings me happiness. It's something else. It's not this. So, psychologically, how you can let go and rejoice, how you should, or you can, if you want to. Suppose some 25 years ago, Ritvik gave me a tight slap. He didn't, he's an innocent man. He never does such things. So he gave me a tight slap 25 years ago. Now, how long you want to move? First of all, you are a jewel money. And then the sun shining, even I am getting little dazzled. So, money means jewel. Om Mani Padme, Om jewel in the lotus. So, what was that? Joke, okay. The thing is, how long does the actual slap last? Factual. 5 minutes? 10 minutes? It was so hard, and if I lost a tooth, maybe some more time. But it's gone, right? After some time. The actual slap is over and done with. I won't let it go. I will hold on to this because I'm hurt, I'm pained, I'm suffering. Why? It's already there. There is no pain now, but it's there in my mind, in my psychological makeup. It's there. The second day of marriage, my husband called me an idiot. 10 years have passed, I'm still thinking of that. Now he says, "You're an angel," but that doesn't occur to me. Can be either way. Now, is there a way to let go of this? Because it actually is not there except in my mind. It's continuously playing like a tape, on and on and on. But it's only there in my, I'm sorry, I was about to use a bad word, memory. It's only there in my memory. So understanding this, that it does not exist now, it's only a tape that's being playing constantly. Can I say, okay, done, release it? Make an attempt, at least. When I go to sleep in the night, open the window and say, I'm throwing this out because it doesn't exist, just there in my mind, going on and on. This would be called let go and rejoice. Believe me, if you throw that out, you will rejoice forever. Because maybe what is actually keeping you away from the joy is that little thing that's coming in and out, coming. This is the psychological part of tena, tyaktena, bhunjitha. Let go and rejoice. There's also another part to it. I've studied a lot, suppose. I didn't have to go through that torture. But suppose I have studied a lot and I've acquired a lot of knowledge and I think I know everything about Vedanta and so on and so forth. I'm caught up with that. I'm afraid that sometime I might find there is a gap somewhere. I'm holding on. If I let go of it and say, what does it matter? I've studied, it is a memory and it's over now. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm free. Now, if you want to go deeper into the recesses, the core of your consciousness, you need to discard all these silly things, minor things, Because of our mind, they have been made into a major thing. They're actually silly things. Let go. Right? If you do that, you'll begin to appreciate the idea Purnamidam. This is complete. That completeness is hid by all these things and conditioned. Can we move them off? Now, this is also connected with the way the prana or the life energy moves in your system. This we'll deal with when we come to Kriya. But the intention has to be there first. Without the intention, it's not going to work. So, what we are trying to do is to reach that completeness which already exists in us. So if it exists in us, why are we not able to see it? Because there are many layers and layers upon layers covering it. All we are trying to do, any kind of sadhana, is removing the barriers. You're not bringing anything new inside, it is already there. You're removing the barriers. This is Kriya or any other sadhana, or even study. Swadhyaya is merely removing the barriers so that the truth shines forth in all its glory, in its pristine purity. This is what we are doing. And the connection with prana we will discuss when we come to Kriya. Okay. Now, let's look at it from another angle. Vedanta, or ancient Upanishads, which is the main script teachings of Vedanta, say, no, define the Supreme Being, the Supreme Reality. At the moment, a hypothesis. That Supreme Reality as Sat-Chit-Ananda. Now this Sanskrit word Sat-Chit-Ananda comes from 3 syllables, Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat, Chit and Ananda. Now Sat, they say the ultimate reality, the Purna, is Sat-Chit-Ananda. Sat meaning truth, the reality, as opposed to what we think is the reality but is not. Careful. We think this is real, but this is here. After a few years, this won't be there. So how real can it be? It is gone. Anything for that matter in this world. It is there temporarily, not permanently. And therefore, this is our reality, so we say this is real. The Vedanta is supposing that there is something that is real, meaning something that is permanent and is there forever, eternally, and not something which comes and therefore goes. Anything that comes has to go. Anything that is born has to die. Anything that you see in this world has to disintegrate at some point. This is nature, law of nature. The Upanishad is saying, but in the midst of all this impermanency, there is a permanent self. There is a permanent consciousness, a permanent being, which is called Sat, meaning it is not asat, it is not unreal. Impermanent, it's permanent, it's always, it is the ground on which the impermanent does all its drama. and then it's still remaining there. And the good news is it is also the core of our consciousness. You need not be worried that I am also going. So the core of your consciousness is that Sat, which neither is born nor does it die. It is, okay, Sat. Now Chit, meaning that Sat, the core of consciousness, the core of this entire universe, is also conscious. It's not an unconscious something. It's not what in Sanskrit would say padartha. It's consciousness, prajna. That's why it's called Chit. So this Sat is also Chit, because it's not a material object, but it is the base of all material objects. And it is conscious, Chit. And by its own intrinsic nature, it is Ananda, which means bliss, happiness, bliss. But this Ananda is not the kind of happiness that comes and goes. I enjoy an ice cream and there is happiness. It goes. When the ice cream is over, then I have to get another ice cream to do it. I can't. I have one ice cream, I get sinus, so I don't take it. I get a throat problem. So, Ananda, or the Upanishad calls it Anantam Anandam Brahma, that Ananda or happiness or blissfulness that is never at an end because it was never born but it exists forever. This is Sat-Chit-Ananda. Right? Now, I'm going to make a statement which you can refute. Every human being, intelligent human being, searches for Sat-Chit-Ananda. You can say no. Even though we think we are trying to search for something else or acquire something else, deep down in the psyche, we are searching for that Sat-Chit-Ananda because we are all searching for happiness, bliss in some way. Not knowing that what we seek is here and not there. And when it is found here, it is found everywhere. Unfortunately, you can't find it there. First you find it here and then you see it everywhere. Now, the great Weaver saint Kabir Das beautifully illustrated this with the story of what he called the Kasturi Mriga. There is a kind of deer that lives in the Himalayas, in the Uttarkashi area down, which is called a musk deer. Musk, M-U-S-K. This little deer has a bag, kind of a sack near its belly, where every year in a certain season, basically it's meant for breeding. The other deer can smell it and come. Precisely why we also do. So, this musk deer, every year when musk is produced in the sack, there's a fragrance in the air. You know how musk is, pure kasturi. In Sanskrit it's called kasturi. There's a beautiful fragrance in the air. And the poor deer, D-E-A-R, not knowing that the fragrance is coming from under his belly button, goes looking for it everywhere, Or pushes its snout into thorny bushes and bleeds, but doesn't know that it's coming from here. So Kabir said, as the Vedantins said 1,000 years ago, that this happiness that you search is to be found here. If you find it here, you find it everywhere. And that is Sat-Chit-Ananda. A person who has touched that, you will find, always spreads a fragrance. Not the musk, mind fragrance. Because the person is free and happy and has touched the source of happiness. So even the most depressed person, you spend if there is such a person, you spend 10 minutes with that person, you don't know what happened, but you come back, nice. At least that much. You agree or disagree, but... So, this is the universal search which everybody is looking at, not knowing that we are looking at it. We're looking at it in different directions. We fail, but nobody has told us that you need to look in, so we are still looking, grabbing outside. You think that, well, this is the most beautiful person I've ever seen. I'm lost. That person has spurned me, so I want to jump into the pit. Rubbish. That happiness which you saw in that is coming from inside, is not from outside. You just need to adjust your mind and understand that it is futile to seek and be dependent on anything external when you can find the freeing, absolute freedom and happiness inside yourself. And if you have that, you will also not hate others, you will only love others. Now, the nearest thing you can understand about this is ordinary worldly love, so-called. Of course, you can study the lives of great devotees of the Lord, but it's difficult. In daily life, the nearest you can understand this is human love. Now, when you say love, it does not expect anything in return. If it expects anything in return, it's business. I give you this and I expect this in return. Right? So therefore, the great Veda Vyasa, when he wrote the Brahma Sutras, please don't attempt to read the Brahma Sutras. You might spend a lifetime trying to figure out this stuff. Anyway, when he wrote the Brahma Sutras, he defined, instead of the word Sat-Chit-Ananda for the Supreme Being, he used the word asti-bhati-priya. Asti-bhati-priya. Asti means, asti, the meaning of asti is it is, which means the only thing that actually is. Everything else is going and coming and is. I-S with a capital I. Isness. Asti. It is because of that asti that we all say we exist. That exists. Because of the inner presence of that which is, with a capital I. Plus, that I, that is effulgent and conscious, bhati. It's not a dead matter, it's not an electric bulb that lights up, but it's conscious, it's live, bhati. And it has one quality only, and that is priya, asti-bhati-priya. Priya means what? Oh, Priya, huh? What is Priya? So from heights of Vedanta, I came down to Priya. Asti-bhati-priya. So, Priya is what you feel for others, the love, the affection, the mother feels for the... Don't mistake Priya for only two people running around the tree. The mother feels for the child feels for the mother, the husband feels for the wife feels for the husband. The love you feel for the flowers in your garden, because of which you don't want to cut them and fit them up in vases. All this is love. Tomorrow they are not going to keep this. So, and this love is something, even ordinary love. Two young people, it can't be explained in words. If you try to tell somebody, hey, what is this nonsense about what love, they can't explain. Even ordinary love cannot be explained. Because the partner is ready to even jump into the well for the sake of this person. He may be from an affluent family, and the other party might be a very poor family, so the parents will, hey, this is not but this is love, I don't care, you keep your wealth, I'm going. Even biological love, let's say. Otherwise this world won't be in existence. If the male bee doesn't love the female bee, where would we get honey from? So anyway, you can see young people standing in the bus stop. Here there are no bus stops anyway, the bus stops, looking at each other for hours, not speaking. So, what are you doing? Nothing. But why are you looking like that? Nothing. But kya ho raha hai bhai? Kuch hota hai. But we don't know what is happening. Something is happening. Right? And this is the crux of the whole movement of the universe. Magnetism is kind of love actually, in a way. Physics point of view. And like poles attract. Nowadays like poles, but anyway. So, this is what we call Priya. This quality of Priya is truly the essence of our being. And this is what we seek. And its quality is blissfulness. And for this, just as in ordinary love, one is ready to sacrifice anything just to keep that on. Now a person who is very serious about finding this ultimate truth, which Vedanta defines as asti-bhati-priya, is a person of that kind. So, yeah. We have 10 minutes. 11 minutes? 7 minutes, that is too accurate. So, okay, so I'm sure after listening to this much, you might have something to ask me. And please, everybody begins to ask together, I can't answer. So if you would put up your hand, if you want to, don't do it because I'm asking you, but if you put up, and then I will figure out if I can. All on the left side, no pingala this time. 1, 2, 3. So, shall we start? Oh, one line, okay. Yes, ma'am. I'll come there. I'm following some kind of an order. Some kind.
Namaste, Shriyanji. So you spoke about Sat-Chit-Ananda.
Yes.
So what I understood is the Chit is conscious of itself.
Yes.
Right? So it is conscious of itself as being blissful. Right?
It is blissful.
It is blissful and it knows, right? Why is it projecting itself outward? Or what is it that it is causing it to look for the blissfulness outside, if it is already aware of it?
Okay. So, it's like, I'm very happy. I'm full. I want to share it with you. So, I'm creating you so that I can share it with you. In the same way, this bliss overflows. And all the individual souls, so-called, are overflows of that bliss. But they don't realize it. When the mind finds this out, it goes back to its source. Now you know. So try to go back to the source, which is your own self, but which has projected, overflown and come as an individual to you, but you are still seeking it in some way, right?
I'm still not convinced.
You are not convinced, then it is okay.
So I'm not understanding this, that what is the need for it to look outward?
What is the need for a mother to love his child? No, tell me, is there any need really?
No. It is natural. It's like...
That much only.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
And also, if I have a chocolate and I want to give it to you, one way is here, take it. Another way is, I have a chocolate for you, find it. I'm just giving, because you asked me a theoretical, I'm giving you a theoretical answer. With a little difficulty, it becomes sweeter than it was before. When you push, then I say, oh, yeah, have it.
I understand.
It's not an answer. I mean, since the question is framed that way, I'm giving you an answer that way.
I understood. Thank you.
What's your name? Huh? प्रेरणा. ओके, थोड़ा सा प्रेरणा कीजिए, हो जाएगा.
Namaste Babaji. What are the practical ways to deal with the fears of day-to-day things? For example, fear of losing a job, fear of whether your kid is doing well in the school or not, what would happen to your parents back in India. All these worries takes me so much into them. When I'm meditating, I know I'm in a very blissful state, but yet, when all these issues are happening, I'm not able to compartmentalize it. So that fear of worrying kind of takes away all the happiness that I have. Even when I'm happy, I know I did something, I want to be happy, but I'm thinking of, oh, that problem is coming back again, this problem is coming. I solve one, two comes back. How do I compartmentalize this one?
Believe me, that this is common to all mankind, all human beings, also womankind. All human beings have this problem. You are a little super sensitive to this. That's it, all that I can see. There is nobody who doesn't have a problem like, look, my job is now good, I've got a promotion. Now the other guy is very competitive, he might take over my job. Right? This is normal. Any intelligent person has this kind of fear because it's a protection for oneself. There's nothing wrong with that. So therefore, you cannot totally get rid of it until and unless you find that what you seek is the self. And if you find that there is no fear if somebody takes a job, okay, I will find another job. Fear. So therefore, to even explore the spiritual field, you need to become fearless in exploration, not fearless in this life. Fools have no fear of anything. Right? In fact, people say coward. I said, the meaning of the word coward has to be changed in the dictionary, because coward means an intelligent man who sees danger where the fool does not see. So he is afraid. So what is there in that? It's a natural reaction. Don't get away. So that's all fine. But don't let it bother you constantly. That's all you need to figure out. I'm sure many of us have many fears. Many fears. But the thing is, don't let it bother you by first understanding that by allowing it to bother you, you're actually not allowing yourself to grow. When you see that, you would avoid psychologically. I don't want this because it's just hampering my freedom to move forward. So if you see fear then as an enemy, then you can get rid of it. It may not happen in one day because the mind, tends to form habits. And when it forms habits, you need to wean it away from that habit through some other good habit. There's no other way out. Till it becomes what you might call the psychological muscle memory. I can give you an example. You play golf, right? If you stop for, let's say, 1 month, you go back, first day, second day, it is tough because that muscle memory is lost. Once that 2-3 days the muscle memory comes back, then you're fine. In the same way, the mind is habit producing. So now you seeing the danger of it and seeing that I don't need it, actually it's hampering my progress, you should figure out ways and means to take your mind off from it. It may not happen in a day. It may take some time, but I'm sure if you put your mind into it, you'll find some good substitutes. My suggestion is develop some good hobby where you spend all time, some time in your life. If you ask me, take on to golf. Not a waste of time, believe me. You will learn how to move, you will get your muscle memory back, you will know how to get one-pointed attention. You will also learn that brute force doesn't apply. It's a technique. You can do whatever you like, I'm just joking. Go for long walks. Put on some nice music in your headphones. Go for long walks or some chanting. Keep at it for some time. Come back and see how you're relieved. I can't change it for you now, at this minute. Maybe when you start Kriya, when you put your attention on it, you can take it out of this. But don't think it is something unique to you. Everybody has it. The only problem seems to be that you're not able to push it off. It's human.